Celebrate. Connect. Arizona Hispanic Connection.
Welcome to AARP, Arizona Hispanic Connection. We have a very, very important topic today. It's our second show on coronavirus. We have named this show Coronavirus Resources March 31st, 2020. We have a special guest today, but before I introduce my guest, she will be joining by phone. Let me remind you that we do Facebook Live all our shows, and if you haven't done so, I would ask if you can visit our Facebook page at AARP Arizona Hispanic Connection and follow our page and help us. Help us to reach more people by following the page and sharing it with others. We have, again, a very, very important topic, and let me read just a couple paragraphs that I wrote, and then I will introduce our special guest today. This is our second show on the topic of the coronavirus, and most likely we will do more. As we know, this is an extremely important topic, so much so that most areas of our lives have been affected by the coronavirus. There are lots of information, lots of moving parts. In today's show, we will focus on resources. The government has taken a good number of actions that we need to be familiar with. Actions related to unemployment, healthcare, loans to small businesses, stimulus money, and more. Our guest today is Lidia Guzman. Lidia is with Chicanos Por La Causa and has been very busy trying to sort out all the changes that are currently taking place. Lidia, welcome to our show.
Hello, good afternoon, David. Thank you so much for having me on the show. I think what you're doing is so very important. You know, it's important that we share the resources that we have. Obviously, there's just so much, and you're absolutely right. There's so many moving parts. I'm glad to share this with you. Thank you for having me.
Thank you. Before we move to the topic, today is Cesar Chavez Day, and I would like to ask you just to say a little something. I mean, we would easily could devote the whole show to talk about this very special day. Unfortunately, we will devote the time to address some of the present issues, but would you mind sharing just a little something about today?
Yes, well, today is Cesar Chavez's birthday, and at Chicanos Por La Causa, we have chosen to honor his legacy in a variety of ways. One, everyone at Chicanos Por La Causa, we have chosen to make this our special holiday. So the majority of our staff has taken the day off as a holiday. But we are also honoring his legacy because Cesar Chavez believed in perfect political systems, or he believed in perfect participation. And let me just read his quote. His quote says, "We don't need perfect political systems. We need perfect participation." And so, Chicanos Por La Causa, our mission is quite simple. We drive political and economic empowerment, and a perfect way to do that is to ensure that not only people participate in the electoral process, but also in the census. And so a perfect way, and it's happening right now, is to make yourself count. Right now, regardless of everything that's taking place with the pandemic, the census count continues to take place. And everything that we see happening right now with the numbers and the budgets and the funds that are being allocated right now to our communities for everything from medical equipment to down to the funding for meals and unemployment benefits. All of these federal funds go to our communities because they look at the numbers of the population. And the way that they look at those numbers is through the census numbers. So this is why it's so important that we participate in the census count and make ourselves count. Chicanos Por La Causa has a special landing page, and that's cplc.org/counts. And you can fill out the questionnaire online or over the phone. It's very simple. It's very easy. And as a matter of fact, David, a family of 4 takes about 10 minutes or less to complete. It's super easy.
Yeah, we have completed it in our family, and just like you say, it is very, very easy. I am so glad that they did it. They gave us the option to do it online this year, and what a way to honor the memory and legacy of Cesar Chavez. Thank you very, very much. And thanks to Chicanos Por La Causa for keeping the legacy alive. Now moving, Lydia, to the issue that occupies to us today, the coronavirus. I know the many areas of our lives have been literally disrupted, and I would like to ask you to address just a few of them, and so that our audience can get information, up-to-date information. I know that one area, I would say very important area, is the school closures. Would you mind just sharing a little something about what you see from your end about this school closures?
Yes. So the superintendent of public instruction, along with the governor, have sent out several joint statements. The first statement that they sent out was sometime a couple of weeks ago, when they saw the independent school districts decided to cancel classes, and they were canceling classes because they saw an increase of the virus activity taking place, and they just were very concerned for the safety of the students. And so as we started seeing just kind of like a hopscotch of different school districts doing different things, the superintendent and the governor decided to issue a joint statement saying that schools will be closed. We thought that maybe for 2 weeks. And just recently, the governor and the superintendent issued a new statement. And because things are so very fluid, this new statement now says that schools will be closed for the remainder of the school year.
Right.
Okay, and so this is very disruptive for a lot of families. There are a lot of families that, they relied on their kids being in school. They relied on their kids, not being in the home so that they couldn't go out and work and all. So this created a huge disruption. On top of that, there are some families, especially there's a lot of school districts that are in low-income communities, and many of these school districts that provide free lunches, the concern was that the students were not going to be receiving any meals for that day. And so what different school districts did, they looked at the highest need in some of the schools with the highest poverty levels, and they decided to offer the free meal program. But rather than having the kids eat in the schools, like during the summer, what they decided to do a grab-and-go lunch, so that people can drive up and pick up the lunches and then drive away. Because the purpose of all of this is to maintain social distancing.
Of course.
We just, don't want to have the students and folks congregate together. So there are some volunteers that are preparing these meals, and they're issuing, the free meals for students. Many of these students, this is the only meal that they have for the day.
So, Lydia, basically the school will be responsible to send out a notice to the parents so they know what and how each school is managing this lunch distribution, correct?
That is correct, yes. And so, for those parents that have kids in school, say connected and pay close attention to the notices that are coming out. They're doing notices by recorded phone messages or by just logging on through their website. So it's important to stay connected.
Now, obviously, many parents, I have to believe, that had to quit work to go and take care of their children. And part of the benefits that the government has provided is paid sick leave and paid expanded family and medical leave. So I have to believe that the employers should have this type of information and make it available for employees who perhaps had to go leave the jobs basically to go and take care of their children.
That's correct. And so the virus affects folks in many different ways. You're affected whether you receive the virus. Okay, so you get sick. You're also affected if you have to stay home to take care of a loved one. You're also affected if your employer shuts down because of all of the shutdowns and all of the shelter-in-place orders. Cause your business to shut down, and the social distancing. So there's a lot of ways, and the majority of people that are not working right now, that were working prior to all of these announcements, prior to this virus thing, all those folks will be able to receive some sort of different types of benefits. You're right in there has been an executive order that expands the paid sick leave, and not only does it expand the paid sick leave so that people can stay home longer to take care of a loved one that's sick or because you became sick, but there's also orders that not only the governor but also the federal government did to help alleviate folks that are unemployed. So here in Arizona, you apply for unemployment benefits, and you don't have to wait the grace period. Before you have to wait a certain grace period before you can apply of being unemployed. Now you can go ahead and apply right away, and you can start receiving benefits right away.
And this is actually another area, I would call it, an area that the government has taken action to alleviate, and that is the loss of jobs. I am sure with many or much less people, if you will, consuming, buying the things, the economy will definitely suffer, and some companies perhaps may be forced to either close or lay off some employees. So there are also benefits around unemployment. Why don't we, if you don't mind, us addressing a few details about this unemployment benefits?
Sure. So the unemployment benefits, there's a lot of folks that are furloughed, and furloughed means you still work for the company, except for they either reduced your hours or they just say, we don't need you right now, but as soon as we're back up and running and we have a big clientele, you're back on board with us. So there's people that are furloughed, and then there's people that have simply, the company just shut their doors, right? And they're, and so they've been laid off. Okay, so these folks are eligible for those unemployment benefits, and these unemployment benefits, these are unemployment benefits. Not only will you be receiving the regular amount, but there's also an additional amount that was provided by the federal government that the state is going to be issuing as well. So it all depends on what you were making, but it's not going to be the small 200 and something amount that you people are receiving. And let me just say that there are companies. I know that, I'm hoping that we can also discuss the assistance that some small businesses are eligible to receive. But
yeah, that will be another area, definitely.
So, but as far as these unemployment benefits, it's really easy to apply. I know that the first, the Arizona DES is the one who administers the unemployment claims, and we're expecting to see about a 33% or higher unemployment rate in Arizona.
Right.
So, I mean, the unemployment numbers are skyrocketing. It crashed the website, but I want you to stay persistent and continue to
Right.
apply. The website has been already reinstated. It's up and running with all of the new information, and it's really easy. All you have to do is just type www.azui.gov. So
Right.
it's Arizona Unemployment Insurance. It's azui.gov, and then they'll get you right into to where you need to be so you can apply for unemployment benefits.
Yeah. I have some notes here, and the federal government has made available $600 per week on top of whatever a state gives. I believe in Arizona, the top is something like $240 around there. But now through the bills that have been signed and the funding that has been made available, there's an additional $600 per week. And they also have added an additional 13 weeks. So in Arizona, we have up to 26 weeks. So this brings it up to 39 weeks. So this is a very good benefit. And like you say, we really encourage anybody who has lost their jobs to apply at azui.gov.
Correct.
Yeah. Now, another item that I believe is linked to becoming unemployed is the issue of insurance. As we know, I would say all of the insurance, or pretty much the majority of the insurance providers have periods to enroll. And currently, we are not in an open enrollment period. However, when somebody loses a job and therefore loses health coverage, that could trigger a special enrollment period. Do you have any information on that, especially as it relates to the Affordable Care Act?
I know that the insurance companies are being very flexible right now. So if you work for a company who has furloughed you, the federal government, I know, is providing funding for companies who have furloughed their workers so that they can continue to pay for their health insurance so that they can continue to be covered. And one thing I do know also is that many health insurance companies are waiving the copays so that people can get treated with, and get tested also with, so if they suspect that they have the COVID, they're waiving those copays. Now, as far as the coverage for the Affordable Care Act, I know that that is still very fluid. So before I say anything that's going to compromise anybody, I just want to, I'm going to steer away from that one just for a second.
Yeah, I would like to just reiterate what you just said, and that is that some insurance companies are going to waive what is known as the out-of-pocket costs for services related to the coronavirus. And that could be the deductible, that could be the co-payments. As it relates to the Affordable Care Act, let's tell the audience that I believe 12 states run their own marketplace. For example, California. And they have the latitude to open an enrollment period even when it is not open. And also, if someone lost the job, for example, and because they lost the job, they lost the insurance, that is a life event. And they will be able to purchase insurance in the marketplace, provided, because that would put that person on a special enrollment period. So it is very, very important to know that if someone lost the job and because of the loss of job, lost the insurance, that could trigger a special enrollment period, even in states that run their own marketplace. So it's very important to know that. And I would say that the best thing to do if you lost jobs and therefore insurance, you can call the Affordable Care Act, cuidadodesalud.gov in Spanish, and healthcare.gov in English. So there is,
Right.
again, we are so happy to have Lydia Guzman from Chicanos Por La Causa. We are addressing some of these big areas that have been affected, disrupted by this pandemic called the COVID-19. So we are trying to provide some information. We addressed already the matter of school closures, the matter of unemployment. And let's get to a big item, Lydia, before we have to close the show, and that is the stimulus package. What do we know about the stimulus package?
Well, so the stimulus packet, there was this is an emergency amount of money that's going to be given to every taxpayer that to every taxpayer. And the way that it works is if and this is only a one-time payment. So this is the stimulus. This is not an income. This is not part of a wage. So most adults are going to get $1,200. Some could get less. Okay, but so and you have to make $75,000 or less to receive this money. This is for to help get you through some of these rough times. Now, if you are a married couple making $150,000 together when you file jointly, you will be able to receive $2,400. And there's also an additional payment of $500 for every child that's under 16 that you have. So, for example, if my daughter, is working and she has let's say she's a single mom and has a child, she would receive the $1,200, and then for her child, an additional $500. So she would receive a total of $1,700, and this is a one-time payment. This is they call this the stimulus fund. So this is this is something that's the one time, but we understand that there's going to be, now that we see that this is going to be a long haul, we understand that this may be supplemented by an additional stimulus packet. And the additional stimulus packet is going to have more considerations for folks that were not covered in this packet. There are some folks who have also been paying into the tax system, but were not covered in this. For example, people that are paying taxes through their tax ID number, immigrants, for example, or a lot of the farm workers that are working here with H-1B visas that are actually out there right now picking the food that go to the food banks and to the grocery stores so we can have food, in our refrigerators. These are the folks that also need that type of assistance, because some of them might, have fallen behind in some way or another. This thing is just cost a lot of different people in so many different ways, and so it's affected everybody, and it should. And I hope that in the future stimulus packet, we consider those folks as well.
Thank you, Lydia. So $1,200 for single, $500 per child, 16 or younger. Also, the amount, the threshold would be $75,000. They can make up to $99,000, but at that point, the amount would decrease. So it would be reduced until it phases out at $99K per single. It would phase out at $198 per couple, and so on. One thing that I would like to mention is that AARP was very, very much involved and interested that folks who are on Social Security would also get the stimulus money. And the good news is that they will get it, $1,200 per individual. And just to for the audience to know, there is nothing to do. You just have to wait. The check will be deposited on your bank account, especially those that receive Social Security. They already receive their checks via their bank accounts, and that's going to take place. It'll be based on the 2019 tax returns, and if those who have not filed, then it will be based on 2018. And for those on Social Security,
David,
the data that will be used is that
that
on Social Security.
Also, David, I'm sorry to interrupt, but also there's folks that are receiving disability that
Correct.
will also be able to receive this fund as well. So not just the folks that are receiving Social Security, but also disability payments as well.
That is right. Actually, everyone. So it would be retirement benefits, disability, and even SSI. So they will be getting $1,200, a one-time payment due to the stimulus package that was signed into law. Okay, we only have a minute. Let me see, what else could we address in just... Lydia, what is one place online that people can visit? I know we have at aarp.org/coronavirus. The cdc.gov is a good, but more locally, I understand the state government started a page so that folks can visit for information, correct?
Yes, that is correct. So Governor Ducey put out a page where all of the resources can be found. There's also assistance for people that are facing evictions. There's also assistance, and if you want to locate a food bank, if you need to file for unemployment or disability or anything like that, you can find it there, and it is ArizonaTogether.org. Or if you don't have a computer, all you have to do is dial 211, and you'll be able to access that same information. ArizonaTogether.org.
Lydia from Chicanos Por La Causa, I see you all over the place. I really thank you for everything that you do for Chicanos Por La Causa, and even beyond that, more so for the community. Thank you so very much for joining our show. And stay tuned for the Spanish one.
Yo voy a la revolución.